charge this thing. All right, give me a second. All right, so first, all praise to Yahweh, in the name of His Son, Yahweh Shai, in the name of the Holy Spirit. Double honors to my elders, apostles, and the bishops of the Great Millstone, otherwise known as GMS for short, also known as the Prophets of Doom. These are where I have learned this truth and where I am still learning this truth. And also, Shalom to the remnant and the elect of Israel, Lord willing, I'm of that number. So let's read the first part of this fair use disclaimer. It says, copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. All rights and credits go directly to its rightful owners. No copyright infringement is intended. All right. Also a warning to Esau. Okay. You coming against this truth by taking down videos, by spreading lies, all right, is a part of your traits and characteristics. All right. But it doesn't surprise us, nor does it surprise the Lord. All right. He is on his way here to see you, okay, and everyone who holds to your side. Now, as far as us being in the truth, all right, we have a duty to do, okay? So let's go here to Ezekiel 3:17. All right, it reads, Son of man, I have made thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. So we are to look out, okay? Look out for these traps and could be possible traps of the world, okay, and point these things out to Israel, whether they hear us or forbear. And we give these warnings not from our opinions and emotions, but they come straight from the Lord, all right? So Ezekiel 3:17, Son of man, I have made thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore hear the word at my mouth and give them warning from me. These are all prophecies, all right? These are all prophecies. You fit, we fit, everyone else out there fits prophecy. This is how we can tell whom is who, right? Not just with our eyes alone, not just with our ears alone, okay? These things are pointed out through prophecy. So Esau Edom, right, is the so-called and self-called white man. Does that mean that everyone that looks white is an Edomite? No. Even Israelites look so-called white. Even Israelites look so-called Chinese, so-called Japanese, so-called Indian, so-called African. We were spread into all nations of the earth. Okay? We're spread into all nations of the earth, and the Lord is gathering his people back. Only his people, right? You have to be an Israelite. All right? What a spiritual Israelite is an Israelite, first of all, who walks in the spirit, more so than in the flesh, who walks in this truth. That is what a spiritual Israelite is. It's not someone who only has empathy and can admit the truth, all right, of how the world has treated us. That's not what makes you an Israelite. Okay, what makes you an Israelite is being an actual Israelite, having the blood of this blood, or having blood that is of the bloodline within you. And that spiritual Israelite means, again, walking in the spirit. There's a lot of Israelites out here who walk in the spirit of Esau. Okay, so they are an Israelite, but they're walking in the spirit of Esau. Okay, walking in Esau's ways, holding to his side. Okay, not that these things started with Esau. All right, he took things from, okay, so America took things from Rome. America is Rome reincarnated. Rome took things from Greece, or the Greeks, right? And every previous kingdom before that. All right, a lot of things that were contrary to the Lord were gathered and kept. All right, and all of this happened is because we fell away. Okay, we fell away. All right, we fell away first. All right, and then came the seed of the serpent taking over everything. All right, so as much as Esau is being the wicked, right? It started off with us walking contrary to the Lord, all right? So we have a duty to do in this time, which is come back to the Lord and walk in his ways more so than we've walked in the ways of the world. Now, that is our duty as being an Israelite, okay? And the highest office an Israelite man can hold is being a watchman, being someone who teaches and preaches his truth, okay? Who grows in spirit and teaches the truth. All right. There are many Israelite doctrines out there. Okay. Just like there are many Christian doctrines out there. All right. You can't group us who are the true men of the Lord. All right. You can't group us into a group just based off of looks. All right. You can't use your human ears and think that you hear two similar things and group us all together. All right. You have to, that's the importance of having, of the Lord blessing you with the gift of faith and the power to hear, the power to see. This is why it speaks of having the eyes to see and the ears to hear. All right. So let's go on with this reading. What we're reading here is we're still continuing with this question and answer session that I had with Google AI. All right. And what we're touching on here is Revelation 13 verses 16 and 17. All right, because these verses, right, along with these policies that are going along today, all right, point out, all right, they point out the traits and characteristics that Esau is using and has been using, okay, and will use, okay, to get you to receive this mark of the beast. All right, so this is, I don't know what video this is, we've been going on. This is in the mid-teens. All right, so it's at least the 15th video. Could be higher than that. I've actually lost track. I always have to go back and look at what number we're on before I even load the videos up. We're going to continue with this. If you come into this and you just think that you're going to jump into this without any foundation and be able to pick up where we're at, all right, the Lord can have you do that. All right, but do yourself a favor and start at the beginning. All right, go to the first video. All right, find out where we are in this discussion, okay, or in this series of videos. So let's go back here now to the next question. All right, it reads, what I questioned it. Remember, you have to sometimes, all right, put questions in here like you don't know the answer. Okay, you have to ask these things, this AI, rhetorical questions, really, right? Answers that you already know, but to get this thing to think a little bit, all right, if you want to call it thinking. So anyway, the next question is, for the sake of argument, let's say that this technology is the mark of the beast and that there is no question about it. The way that this world is going, are we one crisis away from this being implemented? Okay. So it says, whether a major crisis could accelerate the widespread adoption of technologies such as RFID micro CHIPs and BCIs can be considered. This perspective suggests that crisis can lead to rapid social and technological shifts. Societies may be more willing to accept new technologies and government controls in exchange for perceived security, stability, or solutions to problems during times of perceived threat or vulnerability. For example, during public health crises, the use of technology for contact tracing and health monitoring increases, although this although this also sparks debate about the ethical implications of data privacy. Now, let me say, I didn't say it in the beginning, I am not a doctor. This is not medical advice, all right? We're just doing a question and answer with Google AI, okay? So that paragraph that we read there reminded me of a quote, a worldly quote. Let me see if I can pull this up. Which I just heard a video of Noah Huval Harari, or I think that's his name. I can't remember, but he even used this quote that I'm about to look for. Um, okay, I asked about quote on letting a good crisis go to waste. All right, it says the phrase "never let a good crisis go to waste" is often attributed to Winston Churchill, but there is no definitive evidence he ever said it. While the quote is widely circulated and often used in various contexts, including political and wartime situations, it's more accurately attributed to Rahm Emanuel, who used it in 2008 with the explanation. What I mean by that, it's what I mean by that, it's an opportunity to do things you could not do before. The quote, regardless of its origin, is used to suggest that challenging times can create opportunities for significant change and progress. All right, and Noah Harari, Noah Yuval Harari, or whatever his name is, he actually used that quote. All right, in one of these video clips that I had watched today, um, which was an old clip. I was just looking at old clips that I have on my phone. All right, so now let's go back here. It goes on to say fear and social pressures can influence individual behavior and promote compliance with government mandates. In a future crisis, the pressures could encourage the adoption of technology seen as a solution, and they know this, which again takes us to Micah chapter 2, with the heading being Woe to oppressors. Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hand. Right? So it goes on here to say, a severe economic crisis could create a situation where individuals and nations seek solutions. If the technology is presented as a means to restore stability, access resources, or participate in the global economy, it could be accepted out of necessity, potentially overriding objections. For instance, some believe that the financial and economic turmoil caused by the C19 and endemic pay, okay, contributed to the rapid rise of technology stocks and the increased demand for micro CHIPS to support remote work and digital services. All right, it says proponents could frame the technology's benefits in terms of saving the planet, tracking carbon footprints, or improving healthcare outcomes to appeal to a broad audience and provide incentives for adoption. Okay? This dog, look, I got this little dog. This dog snore louder than I do, man. So that's me snapping my fingers trying to get him to wake up a little bit. Hopefully you can hear me over this. All right, he's right up underneath this recording device. All right. So it says potential crisis. It says several types of crisis could potentially accelerate the adoption of these technologies. A global financial meltdown or widespread poverty could lead people to accept any solution that promises economic relief or access to necessities. Now, isn't this what's going on? All right, the dollar is slowly but surely losing its power. Okay, the economy is tanking. All right, a lot of things are leading up to uh, uh, a certain reaction from the people that are going to call on, all right, all but call on something that they already have for you for a solution for your problems. All right. So let's go to the next one. It says these could be used to justify widespread adoption for contact tracing, health monitoring, or vaccine verification. All right, and we have to speak in code a little bit. All right. So it says periods of widespread social unrest could promote technology that promises enhanced security or social control. We always say they're going to get this thing passed through convenience, peace, and safety. Words that surround those three words, or words built around those words, all right? Making you feel a type of way, okay? Making you feel that this thing is convenient, all right? Peaceful and safe, okay? So it goes on to say the idea of using technology to track and manage environmental impact could become more appealing during severe climate crisis. They're appealing to everyone, okay, with this one micro CHIP. Okay, your ID, all right, your carbon footprint tracker. Pretty soon, maybe your social credit score is going to be on this thing. Okay, your keys, everything you hold within your wallet. All right, your medical information. Okay, things of this nature, man. All right, your health monitoring. All right, all in one stop shop with these people, man. And a lot of people are going to accept this. Okay, hey yo, don't forget that's just the one in the hand. All right, the one in the head. What is that going to help with? Blind sight, paralysis, even give you the feeling like you have telepathy or telekinesis. All right, all types of things. Okay. So the last paragraph with this question says, while the mark of the beast remains a theological concept, the possibility of crisis being leveraged to push for the widespread adoption of the advanced technologies is a real concern. Now up here when it says, while the mark of the beast remains a theological concept, all right, we know what this thing is. We're not trying to convince we're not trying to bend over backwards to convince you that this is what it is. All right, because this is what it is, and the Lord said that everyone isn't going to listen. All right, so you can take it or leave it. This information, all right, this is exactly what the mark of the beast is, man. Despite what things like this tell you, and you can't even depend on this thing telling you the truth. Maybe in the next series, after we get off of this questions, Revelation 13, and questions for AI, maybe we'll ask some more questions to AI. I had an interesting conversation with it a while back, asking if the second coming happened, and it said it depends on who you ask. All right, so you can't even always depend on this, but if you ask it the right questions, it'll give you some really good information and feedback. Okay. So it goes on and says this highlights the importance of critical thinking, open discussion about ethical implications, and the establishment of robust safeguards to protect individual rights and autonomy in the face of rapid technological change. Now let's end this with going back here to Revelation 13 in verse 16. It says, and he, Esau, Edom, all right, the wicked, the one who has the earth in their hand, all right, That's how they can. Uh, that's how they can do what Micah chapter 2 said. All right, woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hand. All right, this is how they can do this. Okay, so back here in Revelation 13, and he causeth all. Let's go ahead and look at this word causeth again. Here it is.
Strong's G 4160. Poieo. Poieo.
All right, poieo. All right, it says to make. It says to be the authors of, the cause. All right, to make ready, to prepare. All right. Let's see. All right, down here it says to make ready, and so at the same time to institute. Let's look up this other man. Here, Dan. Let's go here to Daniel 8. This is Daniel 8. Daniel 8 and 25 talking about these the wicked. All right, these oppressors, Esau, Edom. All right, it says, and through his policy, all right, which this was let me see. Let me start up, because a lot of this Daniel 8 is speaking about back in Grecia, right? Greece. But you can apply this to now. All right. So let's go here. Down at the bottom of Daniel 8. Let's start here in 23. And in the latter time of their kingdom, when the transgressors are come to the full, a king of fierce countenance and understanding dark sentences shall stand up, and his power shall be mighty, but not by his own power. And he shall destroy wonderfully, and shall prosper and practice, and shall destroy the mighty and the holy people. And through his policy he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand, and he shall magnify himself in his heart, and by peace shall destroy many. He shall also stand up against the prince of princes, but he shall be broken without hand. Okay, so let's look at this and through his policy. Let's see what this is. We went over this before, but let's do it again.
Strong's H 7922. Seichel. Seichel. And
through his policy, which is his cunning, craft. Okay, through his cunning and his craft, also he shall cause, through his cunning, it says also he shall cause craft to prosper. Let's look at what craft is.
Strong's H 4820. Mirma. Mirma.
It says deceit, treachery. So through his cunning, he's going to cause deceit and treachery to prosper. All right, let's see what that is.
Strong's H 6743. Saleach. Saleach.
To advance, prosper, make progress, to succeed, to be profitable. All right, to make prosperous, to bring to successful issue, to cause to prosper. All right, let's Strong's definition, it says literal or figurative, to break out, to come. Let's see. All right, to go over, to be good, to meet, to be profitable. All right, let's go get the Oxford definition of prosper really quickly here.
Prosper.
All right, it says verb, to succeed in material terms, to be financially successful. No. All right, the next one says to flourish physically, to grow strong and healthy. All right, to make successful. So he's going to, through his cunning, he's going to cause deceit to flourish. All right, to grow strong and healthy. All right, his deceit is going to be successful to a certain extent. All right, it's going to be successful with most people. Okay. So again, these are things that this man is using. All right. I got to go back here again to Micah 2:1. Woe to them that devise iniquity. Let's go look at that word devise really quick.
Strong's H2803. Chashav. Chashav.
All right, devise. To think, plan, calculate, invent, imagine. Okay. All right. Woe to them that devise. All right. Woe to them that plan. Woe to them that devise iniquity. They plan iniquity and work evil upon their beds. Let's see what work is.
Strong's H6466. Pa'al. Pa'al.
Oops. All right, to do, to make. All right, Strong's definition says to do or make systematically and habitually, especially to practice, commit. It says evildoer, maker, worker. All right, so that's what these people do, man. They devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds and cause it to prosper through their cunning. All right, but woe to them. All right, so that was all for that question. All right, I hope, Lord willing, I came to a sincere and edifying. All right, and with that, all praise to Yahweh in the name of his son, Yahweh Shai, in the name of the Holy Spirit. Double honors to my elders, apostles, and the bishops of Great Millstone, otherwise known as GMS for short, also known as the prophets of doom. These are where I have learned this truth and where I am still learning this truth. And also shalom to the remnant and the elect of Israel. Lord willing, I'm of that number, and Lord willing, we'll see you in the next video. Shalom.